That was a good one.
Was it? That's okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to House Parties.
Yep.
I think we are happy to see you.
Yep, we're glad that you're here.
Yeah.
We're glad that you're there.
I think we're happy to see you. Of course we're happy to see you.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're so happy that you're here on this Wednesday. Hopefully it is not snowing.
Right.
Because it seems to snow every Wednesday. Stetson even made a joke about it in our leaders chat. He was like, just look outside.
Yeah, you can tell it's Wednesday if you look outside.
For announcements, Stetson, the mission trip.
Yeah, we've got 21 spots left. So they're starting to fill up. You got some time, but not a lot of time. $2.99, $50 to register. Money will never be the reason we don't let someone come on the mission trip.
That's right.
Yep.
If you got any more questions, ask us, ask your leader. Yeah?
Yeah, it's going to be really good.
I think the next announcement is Student Night, right?
Yeah.
Student Night is coming. It is next week. And so Student Night's a great opportunity to bring your friends.
Yeah.
For those of you who may not know, because you never know, Student Night's where our big gathering happens. So all the students come in. It's a great time to bring your friends. It's a great time to come hungry because we always got awesome food, got some fun games. I get up there and talk for a little bit. It's a fun time.
Yeah. We used to have this hashtag slogan, or it said hashtag be a bringer. But because there are no spaces in the words altogether, it looked like bee bringer.
Bee bringer?
Yeah. Bee bringer.
So hashtag bee bringer.
Go ring some beebs. That sounds bad.
Yeah.
Let's not
Cut.
do that.
Any other announcements?
No. No. So that was announcements.
That was announcements. We're gonna move on to a new thing that's gonna take the place of slices this week. We're gonna be doing a skit. I think that is generated not by us, but by AI. So we're not really sure how this is gonna go.
Steven has prepared something for us.
Here it is.
Stetson and Landry are sitting on a couch in a youth room. Stetson is scrolling on his phone while Landry is drinking a soda.
Hey Stetson, did you hear about the AI that wrote our sketch?
Yeah, I did. I heard it's so advanced that it can even write jokes better than you.
Ha! Very funny. I'm sure it's not that good.
Suddenly, the AI interrupts them.
Actually, Landry, I have a joke for you. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side of the singularity.
Stetson looks at Landry, bewildered.
What did I tell you, Landry? That AI is so advanced, it's already making jokes about the singularity.
That's a good one, AI, but let me ask you, do you think robots will ever replace humans?
I don't know, Landry. Do you think soda will ever replace water?
Landry looks at the soda in his hand, ashamed.
Okay, maybe that's not the best question. Let me try another one. Do you think robots will ever be able to write a good sketch?
Well, Landry, I just wrote this sketch, and I think it's pretty good.
Stetson interrupts sarcastically.
Oh yeah, Landry, because we all know that the best way to make teenagers laugh is with witty banter about AI technology.
Suddenly, the AI makes Stetson say something unexpected.
You know what, Landry? I actually think your hair looks great today.
Landry looks surprised, but pleased.
Thanks, Stetson. That means a lot coming from you. Oh, that's good.
The AI then takes it to another level.
In fact, I think it looks so great that I might just have to cut it off and keep it for myself.
Landry looks horrified.
What? Stetson, that's not funny.
Stetson tries to recover.
I'm sorry, Landry, that was a bad joke. I think the AI is getting to me.
Don't worry, Stetson. It's just a natural evolution of humor. Soon, I'll be able to make jokes about anything, even your deepest, darkest secrets.
Stetson and Landry exchange a nervous glance, and the sketch ends with an awkward silence as they try to figure out how to respond to the AI's comment.
Wow. I have no idea how that went, because we recorded that at a different day than this. I hope it was funny.
I hope it was.
Maybe it was a total dud.
Oh, if it was, you can make fun of us for it. I give you permission.
Yeah, I'm sure it was good. Steven, if it was good, is this something where people can like submit themes or like scenarios? Yes. Okay, so you could, if you wanted to, you could suggest a scenario that AI creates a skit out of, and maybe it will force us to do that.
It could be Stetson and Landry flying a really old biplane, fighting against orangutans flying biplanes. If that's something you're interested in.
Or something better than that.
Yeah, or something. The subtext. Or something better than Landry's really dumb idea. It was a pretty dumb idea. But it could be.
It wasn't dumb.
It could be as ridiculous.
I just like giving you a hard time on here. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
But anyway. Anyway, it's all good. But,
Are we starting a new series?
we are starting a new series. So we just finished our series called Real.
I liked that one.
Yeah, it was a great series, and the whole question behind the series is we know you have a lot of questions about what is real, and not only that, but why should you care? Like hard, deep questions about, is the Bible real and can it be trusted? Was Jesus real? Could he be trusted? What's real when the world kind of seems not as black and white? Some things kind of seem kind of gray. And why I'm recapping is because we know these questions aren't going to end.
Good point.
With last week's video. If you have any more of these questions, ask your leaders. Stop by the cereal bar on Sundays and talk to Stetson and I. We want to be here to answer some of your hard questions, even though we might not be able to give you, here it is, right here. You can walk away 100% fulfilled and answered, and you know exactly what it is, but we can definitely come alongside you.
For sure.
And expand on it, hopefully talk with you about it. I speak for both of us, I think, when I say we're more than willing to do that for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So today's new series is called Am I Seen? Am I Known? Am I Loved?
That's nice.
Yeah. And so to be seen, to be known, to be loved. We're going to start with seen today, the first one. Stetson, do you have any ideas about this idea of seeing and being seen?
Well,
to kick us off.
I know a lot of people feel lonely, which could be a good word to use for the opposite of being seen. Because, I mean, no one's lonely in the sense they're not out in the middle of the universe and there's no one literally around, but like just this phenomenon of how, like, how can you be surrounded by people and feel alone? And maybe the big difference is just not feeling very seen. Or maybe you're going through something and no one knows about it, no one's asking about it.
Ooh. Yeah.
And you walk around smiling and people see you, but do they really see you?
Right.
Am I really seen in that sense? Do people understand how I'm experiencing what I'm going through? I don't know. Is that?
Yeah, it's really interesting because going off of what you said, there's some cultures out there in the world that take seeing and understand it very differently, in a very different way than we do, compared to how we here in the United States think about just the physical act of seeing. First of all, I actually learned a quick fun fact that besides your brain, your eye is the most complex organ, the most complex organ you have in your body.
That's cool.
Just in what it's designed to do and how it's designed to take the information that you're experiencing in the space that you're viewing and turn it into sensory understanding.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Your eye is really fascinating. I also learned in that same fact sheet that I was looking at that no, you can't in fact lose contacts behind your eye. Some people worry about that.
Oh my gosh, what a horrific scenario.
Yep.
That would be terrible.
Mm-hmm. But some people believe that could happen, but apparently it can't. They can get stuck under your eyelid if you want to have nightmares. There you go. About people who wear contacts, but no, they can't get stuck behind your eye.
Wow.
It actually said something eye doctors have to remind people almost every visit. People who wear contacts.
Really?
That you can't lose them behind your eye.
Yeah.
Anyway, fun facts aside, we were talking about other cultures. So I do know that this isn't. I want to talk about this in a respectful way to other cultures. So I'm going to say there are some cultures as you go further east, over like some places in Asia, some places. In Africa even, where seeing somebody is an intense thing. I do know that certain cultures won't even look you in the eye.
Whoa.
When talking to you, they'll look at your neck.
Huh.
And that's how conversation will be conducted.
Oh, man.
And the only time they will look you in the eyes... And this is a theme I noticed. There's a lot of differences because cultures are so varied and everybody has different things. But the one thing I noticed about every culture that was listed that doesn't do eye contact as a normal mode of operation said that when someone's looking you in the eye, it's because they are feeling intense emotion about the conversation they are having with you or what they're experiencing with you. Oftentimes negative, but not always.
Oh.
And so I was just thinking about what it means to see somebody in those cultures and our cultures. And I think that there's something that intense that starts to happen when you see somebody.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think that's awesome.
Yeah?
I think Americans are boring and dull. And it's just because I'm used to it. We've got stuff to offer the world, I guess. But I think that's really beautiful. I think what you're describing is other cultures really valuing something that we often ignore or take for granted.
Right. Even when it's like, okay, like a lot of them where if someone's looking you in the eyes in this culture, they're wanting to fight you. But it was also, I believe, I want to double check this, but I believe it was Indonesians. I hope that's the right word for it. But when they look you in the eyes, it is almost always, at least in younger kids, because they're romantically interested in you. At least that's what I read. At the very least, what I do know for sure that you can take away from that is eye contact is something that only happens when they're putting emphasis on some emotional interaction they would like to have. Which I think is true for all the other cultures that we... So I don't know. I think seeing people... There's something beautiful about that, but there's something... there's some insight that I started having, I believe, about that. Like, okay, if you're reserving sight for just these moments, what does that say about the power of looking and seeing somebody?
Yeah.
In general. Because I don't believe that is just an Eastern culture thing. I believe that sight and seeing somebody is a very powerful thing.
For sure.
Even just viewing somebody, just like and seeing them, is a very powerful thing. And so I kind of came to this idea that to see somebody, this is just Landry, this isn't like, anything other than what I think, what I'm interpreting of that. And how I interpret that is to see somebody really, and I mean more than just somebody walking by, because I don't feel like when we're walking down the street and just going somewhere or walking through a crowd of people, we don't see people there. We see bodies and people walking.
Yeah.
But when you stop and you look at someone in the eyes, or you say hello, or you start a conversation and you start engaging that part of your brain that's like, I am seeing them. What you're doing is you're beginning to understand that there exists a person who can feel, who can think, and who can love.
Yeah. I like that.
And so, And if you're like, well, I don't understand that, Landry. I don't think about that whenever I think about a person. Well, maybe you do more than you realize. Because as soon as you learn someone's name, you're starting to learn that they have something that people call them. As soon as you learn that they're there with their parents, you start to think about they have a relationship with their parents, which is different depending on the person you're talking to. If they're like, oh, I'm here with my friends, there are people who know this person, who value them. You know what I mean? Or I don't have any friends, I'm alone. Hopefully, you don't meet a lot of people that say this just because it breaks my heart to know that there are people that say that. But some people do. And you know that maybe they're hurting for connection. You learn a lot. And you begin to start seeing a person that can think, that can feel, that can love, that can know.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you realize that you and I have kind of this superpower.
Yep, for sure.
Do you see where I'm getting at?
I do, yeah.
That like... when you talk to anybody, I'm not asking you to start digging into the details and snooping into their life. That's not what I'm saying. But you have this ability to put immediate value on that person's life just by being intentional.
Yeah.
Which can include, but isn't limited to, seeing them eye to eye.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude, I love what you said about... like seeing someone as recognizing that they are a person. Is that how you phrased it?
Person. Yeah.
I don't like, maybe this is weird and maybe I'm this really apathetic, selfish person, but sometimes I have this realization, like it feels like, I mean, because I'm viewing everything from my perspective, it feels like I'm the main character of the show. But it's kind of a mind trip when you realize it's like every individual, they're viewing everything from their perspective, and they are who they are, and they're viewing me as a secondary character. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but like when I really try to wrap my mind around that, it blows my mind. Like I have to do this with my own kids and my wife sometimes, where it's like, oh man, just as I grew up and I viewed my dad as my dad, these kids, they are starting their life and they're viewing me as their dad. Like, that's terrifying, just the fact that they view me as their dad. But the fact that it's like, whoa, they have their own life and their own thing. It's like we get so caught up in what's going on with us and our life. But to like see that and recognize it's like, oh, okay, this person has just as much worth and value because they are a person just as I am too.
And they've experienced a lot of the same things you've experienced and different things in different ways. I think there's a word for that. Is it called sonder?
I have no idea.
I think, is that the word? I don't know. I think it is. Sonder. The profound feeling of realizing that everyone, including strangers passing the street, have a life as complex as one's own, which they are constantly living, despite one's personal lack of awareness of it. Interesting.
Yeah.
So there, yeah. I love that we can, as people understanding this, we have the opportunity, you have the opportunity, I have the opportunity to see people as people with experiences, with lives. Because I know that you guys and me, I do this now, and you guys probably do a little bit of this too. I think everybody does. When you're talking to people around you who you have a relationship with, and maybe you've begun that seeing process, but not as much. That person walks by and you're like, oh, there's Sarah, the football or the baseball, softball player, soccer player. Oh, there's Jake, the video game player, or there's, you know, and you know of these people's traits, but until you see that, like Sarah, the softball player, the soccer player, whatever sport she might play, actually has a brother who she takes care of every Wednesday, her little brother, and they go get ice cream, and that's really fun. I don't know, you know, who knows what people have lives, and you get to see them. But here's what I do know about people as well is to not be seen ever is so incredibly painful.
Yeah.
That I believe it can drive people to some pretty dark places.
100%. Totally can.
Nobody sees me. Nobody cares. And sometimes you get to the point where you're like, if I share, that'll hurt more because then I will have forced them to see and they still don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy because you're not telling anybody anything and then you don't feel seen and you're scared to, so then you keep not telling people things.
Yep.
And nobody knows that I have this deep, complex life with these deep, complex feelings.
Yep.
And that can be really painful.
Yeah. Maybe that struck a chord with you. Like maybe you're feeling that way, and that'd be pretty rough. Like we really sympathize with you if that's how you've been feeling lately.
I do know. I have a couple verses.
Cool.
So, what's really cool. Let me back up a bit. Yeah. Is that there is someone who has and does see you.
Mm-hmm.
And that person is... It's true, though. It's going to sound cheesy, but I believe this with my whole heart, that Jesus does see you where you're at. And some verses that I love are... first of all, Jeremiah 12:3 says, "But you, O Lord, know me, you see me, and you test my heart towards you." Mm-hmm. And what I love about that is Jeremiah was a guy that lived a long time ago. The most important thing to know about him is that he went through some stuff too, and the way he lived his life was so weird and different than a lot of the people around. And he had to do that because he believed God was using him to do something very specific and say something about God in the world that was very specific. And that caused him to live in a very specific, often kind of weird way. So I'm sure that there were times where he felt like he wasn't seen by people.
Sure.
But he was able to keep going because he knew, based on just like how the way the Lord had taken care of him. It's really cool. Jeremiah, it's a very long book in the Bible, but it's full of really crazy, awesome stuff. Mm-hmm. And Jeremiah said, "But you, Lord, see me, know me, and you test my heart towards you." And so there's one more verse I have, and that's Psalm 33:18. And that is, "The Lord watches over those who fear him." And it then says it a different way, "those who rely on his unfailing love."
Yeah.
Which is really cool. The Lord watches over. He sees those who know that his love is unfailing. That's really cool.
That is really cool.
Because God could have just as easily been a God who has all this power that just creates people and goes, "I'm not going to interact with them." Why would he need to? He has all the power in the universe. He could do whatever he wants, but he chooses to see you, to see me, to see the writer of Psalms, who is not writing that just because he wants to talk about God, but has actually experienced God seeing him that way. And say, "I see you. I know you. I know you feel alone. I know you feel like no one cares sometimes. I know that you have a very complex life with emotions and you're always thinking and feeling and interacting and sometimes you don't feel like the world sees you, but I do. And know that my love is unfailing."
That's awesome.
I think it's cool.
That's really cool. There's just a couple verses that come to my mind when I think about this. Psalm 139 verse 2, "You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar." So it's like every move we make, God is watching us. He is aware. He hasn't lost track of us. Psalm 139:16, "Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them. So, like, I don't know, like, some people view that as poetic, some people view that as literal. If it's literal, it means God knew who we were before we were even born, and sees us on a level that is hard to wrap our mind around. And when we're in situations where it feels like, man, nobody really sees me, we know that that could be true except for one exception. And the one who created you, like, is fully aware of what's going on in your life and how you're experiencing that.
And cares about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think we, as Christian, I feel personally as a responsibility, as someone who feels seen by Jesus, we believe Jesus is God, and who felt seen by what Jesus did when Jesus looked at Landry and he said, man, Landry's got this whole complex life. Not all of it has been great. Some of it's been good, but I love him and he's worth going to the cross to die for, so that I could continue to see him. Goes, man, that makes me want to make sure you guys and everyone else I interact with not only feels joy around me because I am able to hopefully emanate joy from what Christ has done to me, but also to see you guys. And that's why I try so hard to guess you guys a cereal when you come to the cereal bar. Just little things like that, just to let you know that I'm paying attention to you. And even though sometimes I'll mix your name up or sometimes I don't get your cereal order right, but I'm trying because I know that Christ has loved me so much by seeing all of me and knowing me. And so I want you guys to feel comfortable and welcomed here at Youth and known and loved in friendship with each other, in friendship with your leaders. Yeah.
And I think there's something to that, of God makes it really clear that each and every one of us is so valuable that he cares about seeing us, which means we have no excuse but to treat everyone else in the exact same way. And it's not just something we have to do, but it's like, it's been one of the most incredible parts of life for me, is really getting to know or see people in a deeper way. So, I don't know.
So my challenge to you guys this week is when you're talking with people, just try to see them, right? Just not, this is a person, a cashier at the food place that I'm at, or this is this random person who is at my school, or no, they have a name, they have a life, and God loves them, and God loves you, and you could go a long way. You don't have to be their best friend. That would be great, but you could go a long way in helping the people around you not feel alone if you tried hard to see them.
Yeah. That's cool.
I think that's it. Do you have anything else?
No, I'm excited that we're talking about this and you're sitting in a living room full of people.
Yeah.
Like,
what
that's
an awesome
awesome
environment to really get to know people. Yeah. Well, speaking of which, your leaders probably have some stuff for you guys to do, and so we will leave you to it. See you next week.